Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming and Miniature video. In today's video, we're going to continue on with our store news update. And in these updates, we try to do about 4 things. We basically tell you what we just finished, what we're working on, and then I go into like what kind of new product I might have gotten in, and what kind of supplies that I've gotten in for painting, and shipping and everything else. Assembling, what have you. All right, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to start on what I had finished in this past week. And let me see if I can shuffle this around a little bit. All right, so we have finished 5 of the Canadian military pattern 15 CWTs for our Canada Crucible campaign. Right, these are Plastic Soldier Company trucks. They're beautiful. And then here's some Old Glory quad artillery tractors. I did 3 of those. Okay, you got those right there. Now, because of the weak wheels, the tires are super thin, and there's no real attachment point. I just had to glue them into the wheel well. I decided it would be smart to actually put them on a base to, strengthen all 4 tires or what have you. And so I did those on a medium base, right? And they look good. And by the way, take an observation of the color. They are not Russian green, Russian uniform. They are what they're supposed to be. The bronze green. Okay. In addition to those, I did a Flames of War Vickers platoon. Right, I did that. And of course, I did quite a bit of like base work as well. I used the. You probably saw that on my last live stream where I was putting clump foliage on there. And if you miss our live streams, what I try to do is once a week, I try to do a live stream where I work on the models on camera, but also we just talk about anything that comes up. You know, it doesn't matter to me. Just keep me company. All right, another box here are all the carriers. I have 4 Lloyd carriers from Forged in Battle. These are the resin carriers. They come with a base built into them, so it's, that wasn't added by me. They turned out really well. I'm very, very pleased with them. I'm pleased with all my work. Okay, and then we've got 9 Bren gun carriers. These are from Plastic Soldier Company as well. I compared them to the Flames of War models, which are much easier to put together, but they don't have a huge variety. They've got like a flamethrower, a machine gun, and your standard Bren gun carrier, and that's it, right? Where the Plastic Soldier Company gives you pretty much all varieties. They give you a mortar carrier, which is this guy right here. It's a 2-inch mortar carrier. I don't know if you can see the guy's manning the mortar in the back. And then they also have an OP or a command post, which I put an FO team inside there, right? It could be used as your what do they call it? Formation headquarters. I'm talking battle group now. It could be used as your formation headquarters, or it could be used as your FO transport. All right. I probably should have made 2 of those, but I only made 1. And then, of course, they have the traditional Bren gun. That's like the default is the Bren gun. But they also have 2 versions of the flamethrower They have a 3-inch mortar, and they have a Vickers machine gun version and a 50 cal version. I don't need those for the campaign that we're getting ready to play, so I decided not to build them. I probably could have just like a 3-inch mortar, a Vickers, and a 50 cal, because I don't need that many Bren carriers anyway, and that would have just given me variety for future scenarios or whatever. But I decided against it because you can have like Bren gun sections, and they would have there would be 3 Bren guns in a section. So I just went ahead and did that. Okay. And then finally, some crew serve weapons. I got 2 17-pounders, and these are forged in battle. And then these are your Flames of War Bofors, right? I did 3 of those. Now, I probably don't need this many Bofors. I'm considering putting one on the eBay store. Okay, now what I'm currently working on is an infantry platoon and a couple of add-ons. I'm waiting for the basing putty, the paste that I use for basing. I'm waiting for that to dry before I go to flock it, or before I go to hit dull coat, because I haven't dull coated these guys at all. So what I've done is made 2 6-pounders, right? And I want to point out that this color right here is not the bronze green spray from Vallejo. It's actually the SCC number 15 olive drab, right? Okay, just gonna point that out. That comes out really dark. It probably needs a little highlight. I am going to do some dusting, some weathering, and that should bring it down a little bit. And then this is a rifle platoon, 3 squads of 10, and then the platoon headquarters of 5, right? And I've decided to do the 5 in the headquarters in small bases, like a 3-man base and a 2-man base, and that's the platoon headquarters. And then, in addition to the platoon headquarters and the 3 squads of 10, now the 3 squads of 10, I did 3 medium-sized bases. So you've got the 4-man command, right? Because you've got the NCO right there. But then you also have a 3-man Bren gun team. And then I needed an additional 3-man rifle team. And so here's 3 men with rifles. Okay, and that is the 10-man squad. Now, these are like 4-figure bases or 5-figure bases, but I thought that using a 3-figure base like this for the 3 guys just didn't make it look right. I like aesthetics. I like the squads to look proper, and if the player ever deploys the Bren gun, drops him off using the Bren gun rule, then you got a squad like that, and that looks pretty good. That looks good. I didn't want to have a squad running around looking like that. It works. It's fine, but I just didn't want to do that. Okay, so we got the command element. We have 3 squads with Bren guns and rifles. Not him. This guy. He's someone different, so I'm gonna. He's actually the 3-man Bren gun team. He's just standing. And then there's the other Bren gun. There's the Sten gun NCO. And another Sten gun NCO. Okay, well that's not a full platoon in Battlefront. You also need a 2-man mortar right there. That right there is your infantry platoon, and there's an option in the infantry platoon to give your command element a Piat. So I went ahead and put a Piat in there. I also made it a 2-man base because there are platoons that can just add a 2-man Piat team. Right? Okay. All right, so that is, and so I could just crib off of this one, you know. Okay. And then I made a 2-man FO. That's awesome. And then I made a carrier section. A carrier section has 3 3-man teams in it. Now, I went ahead and made these 3-man teams on the small bases because each one is riding in a carrier, right? And I just thought it would look better if it was small, and it would fit. It would fit more aesthetically on the table or what have you, and it would look appropriate. And they're only 3 men exactly. They're not 4 or 5 men. Okay, so I got a 3-man carrier team. Now the carrier team has a Bren gun team, a mortar team, and a Piat team, right? So, but it's a 3-man Piat and not a 2-man Piat. So I had to be very conscious because, you know, I made that mistake with my Grenadiers, my SS. Okay, so that works. And then, of course, the 2 6-pounders, which are just support elements that add on. And then here's a trick. Old Glory has packs called stretcher teams. So I made 2 stretcher teams. There's 2 medics carrying a stretcher with a guy laying on it. You know, I thought that was pretty cool. I went ahead and ordered stretcher teams for the U.S., the British, and the Germans. And finally, the stretcher teams don't just come with stretcher teams. They also come with a bunch of wounded guys, which I guess if I was making a diorama, that would be really cool. But I don't, or if I was using those wounded as like casualty markers, that would be really cool as well. But that's not how I mark casualties. But they do have these guys here carrying their buddy on their back, right? Like firemen carry. And so I made 3 medics. And you can tell that I mounted them individually because when you buy a medic, you get a single medic, right? And I thought it would be a waste to put 1 medic on a base like that, right? So, and this is exactly how you're supposed to base all your figures in Battlefront or Battle Group. But I base them like this for ease of movement and squad coherency and all that stuff. Okay, so there's the medics. And the stretcher bearers, and carrier section, platoon headquarters, FO, and 2-inch mortar. There you go. All right, so once those dry, I'll finish them tonight, maybe even during my D&D game. All right, we're going to talk about supplies right now, and then we'll talk about product here in the end. One of the pieces of supply I got was the AK British uniform colors, which comes with the Denison tan, right, and a Denison option 2, and they show two different Denison camouflage patterns and which one to use on which. I thought that was pretty cool. They also give Gunship Green, which is right here, and Gunship Green is for certain packs and pouches and bags, like some commando backpacks or paratrooper ammo pouches, and of course the stretcher fabric. Gunship Green works really good. Okay, and then here's one of the Denison tan bases, and then this is the other Denison. They call it green brown, right? Green brown. And then you also have a red brown, which is good. And then here's something they call decomposed flesh, but on the packaging it says light sand, but in parentheses it's got decomposed flesh, so it's the same color, light sand. And that's what I'm going to use to apply dust to the figures. And then finally, uniform base, which is their English uniform. It's kind of a field drab, like a U.S. field drab, almost exactly the same. Okay, so that color set came in just in time for me to paint some of those British guys. But also, I got refractive green, which is used for green. It's used for green camouflage colors on German tanks and equipment. So there's refractive green, and then you can kind of see how it kind of looks a little bit like field gray, but it's a little bit more green. Okay. And then very excited to get in this SCC number 15 olive drab, because when I do my British vehicles, I want to make sure that I'm doing it properly, and that's with this olive drab. Now, I understand that this is probably the correct color, but I've mentioned this a million times probably in my videos. I probably should make a video specifically about it. But depending on the scale of the model, some darker colors will appear even more dark on a smaller figure. So I think that SEC number 15 olive drab might be the correct color, but on a 15 millimeter model, I think it almost looks too dark, right? So looking at it with the naked eye, that looks much darker than what it looks like in the bottle, right? So I don't know if you can tell. So I might need to maybe mix this with a US olive drab or something to lighten it up, or maybe an olive gray or something. Mix it to and then highlight. I'm going to experiment when it comes to the next tanks. Okay. I also got in something I didn't necessarily need, but I wanted it. It's the XF65, which is a field gray from Tamiya. I have this bottle, XF65 Tamiya, but I've used this for 20 years, maybe 15 years. I've been using this color for a long time. And when it starts to get a little hard inside, what I'll do is add a couple of drops of water or whatever. And I think I might have diluted it to a point where I just wanted to get a fresh bottle. And then I also decided that I wanted to get a smaller bottle so it'll fit in my paint rack, because this bottle does not fit in my paint rack. I have to sit it beside my paint rack. And but this is my favorite field gray of all time. I have 100 other field grays, but they're all slightly different, either darker or lighter or something, and they just don't feel right. That one feels the best. I did get another tube of Alex, which is acrylic latex, and it's great for puttying on a figure, like around the base of a thick figure, or if you want to add any kind of texturing to a base, or like these Flames of War figures, if you don't have the plugs that go in the holes, you can fill it with Alex. It does shrink a little when it dries, so you do get kind of a little bit of a crater in those bases, but that's way better than having just a circle stuck straight down. But when you're going around the outer edge of like an Old Glory figure or a Warlord Games figure or something like that, it really makes the difference. Okay, I also got in a British armored battle group from Flames of War. I've already thrown the box away, but I've taken all the figures out. And part of those figures, well, all those figures were used to make that infantry platoon you just saw. But it comes with like 3 carriers, and again, those are Flames of War. So I don't know if I'm just going to sell them by the sprue, or if I'm going to put them together and paint them and sell them, or just hold on to them. I don't know. So they just went into a tub. But they also come with Fireflies, perfect, and Churchills, and what else? 25-pound artillery, and M10s, right? It does come with the turret for an M36, but I looked it up the other night, and the British did not use the M36 at all, but the Americans did. So if I need, but I need, I don't know how many M10s, I don't know how many, for the U.S. or the British. Yeah, the U.S. or the British M10s or M36s I'm going to need, but most likely I have more than I need. So anticipate me putting those together and painting them and putting them up on the store. Okay, so Old Glory, right? I put like one order in, and it didn't have it. It had some things in it that I needed, but then I realized, oh my gosh, I needed this other thing. So I had to put a second order in for Old Glory, and then I put the order in, and then I went, oh my gosh, I overlooked this entire thing. So actually I put in 3 separate orders from Old Glory. I've already got the first one in. The first one in had the stretcher teams and the medics, but it also has the BMW motorcycles. Now, it comes with a pack of them. I think there's like 6 motorcycles, and I don't think I'll ever need more than 1 or 2 of them. So, guess what? They're going to go up on the store, the extras. I ordered, in 2 of those orders by mistake, I ordered the Opal Blitz Command Cab. I only need like 1, and I was hoping to get 1 pack, build 1, and then put the other 2 on the store. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint all 3, sell 2 painted ones, but in the meantime, I think I'm going to put a new in the bag Opal Blitz Command on the store as well. So if you like building and painting your own figures, that'll be there. I did get a Dingo set in from Flames of War. This Dingo set comes with a Dingo and a Daimler, right? The Daimler is like an armored car, and I just realized that Battle Group has a subtle name variation for their armored cars. They you have armored cars that are primarily used. Well, they're all primarily used for scouting, but if they don't have a main gun, if they're only machine guns, they call them armored cars. And if they have a gun or a cannon, no, wait. If they have a machine gun, they call them a scout car. And if they have a cannon or something that, some other type of turret or something like that, they call it an armored car. So I thought, now, as you know, I built a Humber scout car for the Germans as a captured vehicle, and the other ones I am selling. But looking through my army lists, I'm seeing that there's two types of Humbers. There's the Humber scout car, and then there's the Humber Mark IV armored car, and it's got a turret and a cannon on it. And I don't have any of those. And I looked all around, and I found an Old Glory had them, but I went ahead and got the Dingo Daimler set. It comes with 2 Dingos and 2 Daimlers, because I can use those Dingos, but the Daimlers I can proxy them in as Humber armored cars with turrets. So that's what I was planning on doing. Last Old Glory order, or not my last, my second Old Glory, my latest, that's the word I'm looking for. My latest Old Glory order came in today while I was working on the mailbox. So let's see which one this is, and you and I, we get to see it all together at the same time. I'm not even going to look at that because I'm more excited to see what we got here. Okay, here we go. M32 Armor Recovery Vehicle. I needed this for the Americans, but I was going to put this off, and that's why I didn't put it in the other order. I just said, I'll just put it off. And I ordered a Cromwell Armor Recovery Vehicle for the British. And then doing a closer inspection of the Army list, it says it's a Sherman Armor Recovery Vehicle. And so I decided, okay, I'll just go ahead and get the M32. I'll paint one as an American and one as a British, and then I'll probably build the other one painted as American and sell it as well. And then this guy's one piece. Wheels and everything are already attached. This is going to be super easy to assemble. Just take it out of the bag and it's done. But this is the Dorchester Armored Com vehicle. So this is like the Opel Command truck, but it's the British version, right? So, and I needed one of those. Okay. And then finally, this is just, I bought an onager in 28 millimeter, right? Why do I need an onager? Well, it's for Oathmark. I don't actually need the onager. What I needed was, I need the onager, but I have some skeleton crew members, and I'm going to sell it as a skeleton catapult. Because I've got skeleton crew, and now I've got a catapult. And this is definitely going to go for sale. All right. Yeah, so that's the only 3 things in that bag. So I still have some more. The first Old Glory order that came in did have some British infantry, which it had the pack of 50, but they're all riflemen, 100%, all riflemen. So I couldn't make another platoon. One of those figures in that platoon is an Old Glory figure, just as a filler rifleman. But to make a platoon, I need a bunch of Bren guns, right? You need one Bren gun per squad, and I have no other Bren guns. So I have to wait for my. I have two Flames of War British companies coming in, and those should have a ton of Bren guns and a ton of infantry, and I should be able to make a bunch of platoons. 7 platoons is the ultimate goal for the British, but I don't need but maybe 4 or 5 to start this Canadian campaign. 7 is for a specific scenario, which is actually way huge. I mean, I played, this is a little off topic, but I played the Lafire Bridge campaign, and the Germans had 3 platoons, and the Americans had 3 platoons, plus a few extra support elements. But that was a fairly large battle. To me, 3 platoon, a company per side, is good for 1 player. Now, that big battle, I'm assuming it's supposed to be 3 players per side, and that would be, and then each player would have their own company. That's pretty cool, but I'm not like aiming to get that right away. Also, Plastic Soldier Company, I have an order from Plastic Soldier Company coming in, and it also has some British infantry in it. And I'm going to take one of those boxes and make a Plastic Soldier Company British company. So there's 3 platoons from Plastic Soldier Company, 1 platoon already made, and then I've got 2 Flames of War companies coming in. That's another 6. So I'm going to have 10 platoons total. So I think some of them are going to have to get sold. Maybe the second Flames of War box. I'm not sure. So, but I don't know. That Flames of War box is taking a long time. I ordered almost a month ago. All right. So thanks for coming out and checking out this video. I showed you what I was working on, what I've already finished, and I'm about to finish them probably tonight. And then what am I going to start working on after that? I'm probably going to finish up the German vehicles that I'd already assembled and primed, just to get them out of the way, basically, because they're sitting on my shelf just primed, ready to go. And then so I should be able to get those done by the next update. Got some new paints in, some different colors that I didn't have, and I also got a new paintbrush for cleaning, for washing my miniatures. It's too far to reach, but basically it's just a nylon 1-inch paintbrush, you know, that you would paint up the edging in the house or whatever, the trim. Well, I usually take a bowl of soap and water, put figures in it, and then I stir it with a paintbrush. I agitate it, as you would say. And then sometimes I'll pull a figure out and actually brush the figure itself if it's being difficult. But usually I just stir it in the soap and water. And I will do that. I will rinse it and then do it again, rinse it and do it again. I do it about 3 or 4 times. And then I just completely rinse it with no soap and water. I mean, no soap, just water a couple of times just to make sure the soap is off. So I got a new brush for that because I lost my old brush. Oh, FYI, just so you know, I did get the track primer in. We already talked about this last week, I do believe. But I used this track primer on my carriers. Looks really good. I'm super happy with it. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go, and I'll catch you next week.